Hey everyone, you're watching We Had That. Last weekend, JoeFest 2021 was held in Augusta, Georgia. There were obviously a lot of G.I. Joe toys, but that certainly wasn't all. In this walkthrough video, I'm going to try to give you an idea of what cool toys could be found there. Let's take a look. We shared a space with Retroville Collectibles, and this year I brought a lot of science fiction collectibles and 8-inch Mego action figures. Although there were a few 12-inch G.I. Joe figures and some other 1/6 scale figures this year, the focus of JoeFest has always been the 1980s Real American Hero line, and this year was no exception. From basic loose action figures to expensive boxed and carded rarities, you could find just about any Real American Hero toys you can think of. Some standout pieces included the USS Flag in the box, both variations of the Python Patrol Troopers on the card, and a handful of Hasbro proof figures. Even carded examples of Destro, the Baroness, and a $4,000 carded Snake Eyes figure could be found there. From rare foreign variants to later run characters to the earliest figures from the Real American Hero line, there was a wide selection to choose from. Even professional wrestler Sergeant Slaughter, who was immortalized in plastic as a member of the Joe team back in the 80s, was on hand to sign autographs. And speaking of celebrities, our friend John Anderson from Guardians of the Galaxy and Stranger Things was there as well. So let's take a look at what other toys we saw this year at JoeFest 2021. Here we've got a Zorro dartboard and a Viper from Battlestar Galactica, some 8-inch Megos and a bunch of Power Rangers. There's a My Pet Monster with a whole lot of G.I. Joe there in the background, some box stuff up on top and a bunch of loose vehicles below that. Moving over, we have some vintage Star Wars, both 3 3/4 inch and 12-inch, loose and boxed. And here we've got Masters of the Universe on this third shelf. And over here, we've got a boxed Thundercats Thunder Tank and this playset. I don't even know what that is. Tell me if you know in the comments below. Shogun Warrior, Big Jim Rescue Rig, a whole bunch of boxed G.I. Joe, Battlestar Galactica 12-inch figures, and some G.I. Joes. More of the more modern G.I. Joes, 12-inch, and a couple of video games there. Moving over to this table, we've got some Care Bears and video game pieces and some Masterpiece Edition G.I. Joes. Down here, this is interesting. We had boxes of 200 loose Joes for $1,200. This guy was selling several of these, so if you want an instant collection for $1,200, this guy could hook you up. Here we've got some great pieces, Legend of the Lone Ranger figures, Karate Kid, even a carded vintage Star Wars figure, and then a bunch of loose bagged figures, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, there's the G.I. Joe Terror Dome, then a bunch of loose Star Wars figures, loose G.I. Joe figures, loose Masters of the Universe figures, all kinds of loose pieces here. And then we've got some carded G.I. Joe. This piece is really nice. A Superpowers Cyborg action figure. You don't see those very often. So that's a really cool, rare piece. I loved this guy's cases. Everything from Voltron to Star Wars to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just all kinds of cool 3 3/4 inch lines. And then this case that had a bunch of Masters of the Universe. I don't know if it's pictured, but he had a Scareglow as well. A whole bunch of boxed figures here and a few loose, mostly superheroes. We've got the Mask-Mobile. That's not something you see very often. And a lot of boxed, looks like Disney and Barbie pieces at this booth. A couple of Michael Jacksons there. And some Ghostbusters figures and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, loose. A very bizarre Rocky Balboa action figure. Superpowers Supermobile in the box. Let's see. Stave Puffed Marshmallow Man. Armor Bots. Looks like we've got some random carded figures. Hey, Goldberg from the Masters of the WWE Universe. Let's see. A Batwing up there in the box. Flintstones figures. All kinds of random stuff here. Star Wars. More G.I. Joe, more G.I. Joe, more G.I. Joe. It was JoeFest. There was a lot of G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, a lot of G.I. Joe here. boxed, carded, packaged, loose, you name it. And then here we've got bins of figures, loose figures with their accessories and file cards. Marauder Customs, you could buy pieces to put together figures, or you could buy figures here and then kits to accessorize them. Some of the newer superpowers, random 12-inch G.I. Joes, some of the various lines of G.I. Joe here, a whole bunch of carded G.I. Joes. There in the background, we've got other lines of carded figures. I love the movie Star Trek 12-inch figure and the G.I. Joe Troubleshooter still in the box. So there were a few vintage G.I. Joe pieces from the 12-inch line from the 60s and 70s. We've got a whole lot of the Veruvian hacks, and I'll be honest, I had to be careful not to get started on this line. These figures are so cool, but starting at around $25 a piece, I just don't need to start collecting another line of action figures. I'm already collecting too many as it is, but man, these figures are cool. Masters of the Universe Classics, speaking of collecting too many lines, I love those. And up here we've got a monster ring for wrestlers, Star Wars Millennium Falcon, more Masters of the Universe. These look like the Origins figures that are out in the stores now. A few more loose G.I. Joe pieces, and these bins of parts so that you can put together your own 4-inch figures. These Western figures look pretty cool. A lot of random boxed and carded figures, Lost in Space, more Masters of the Universe, Lego Star Wars, 12-inch Star Wars, more of the Masters of the Universe. It looks like these are some of the Origins figures again. Masters of the WWE Universe. Again, a lot of these figures have been in stores recently, but they're always tough to find. Another Shogun Warrior, Shogun Godzilla. I love those. Some Masters of the Universe 2000X figures and a bunch of vintage figures that have been put in these little cellophane packages for convenient storage. Oh, I love this. The Masters of the Universe Classic Snake Mountain. What a great piece right there. That's awesome. Hulk Hogan. A bunch of boxed mask toys. Some random loose dinosaurs, dragons, and whatnot. Some of the G.I. Joe classifieds. More G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe Creo. There's some more Godzilla figures. Some comic books. Simpsons figures in the package. Ooh, Swamp Thing. You don't see a lot of those. Millennium Falcon, Millennium Falcon, Millennium Falcon. Turtles Bowling. That's pretty cool. Oh, Transformers Optimus Prime. G.I. Joe Fort America. That was a strange vehicle in the G.I. Joe line. Some more of the more modern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think those are from NECA. More Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Transformers. Thundercats, Star Wars, and another Shogun Warrior. This one's Mazinga in the box. And a bunch of loose G.I. Joe figures. Muppets figures. Those are cool. Some comic books here. There were a lot of comic books at the show. There's some more Transformers, Hulkmania, and Despicable Me figures. More Transformers. Those little mini figures. Some Pops. More Pops. There weren't as many Pops as I've been seeing lately, but there were certainly plenty of Pops if you want Pops. Star Wars, Masters of the Universe, more wrestlers. I saw a whole lot of wrestlers this weekend. Another Hulk Hogan. Whole bunch of wrestlers in the ring. Some carded wrestlers. Some of these are vintage, some of these are more modern. All kinds of wrestlers. More G.I. Joe. Some of these are packaged. Some of these are convention exclusives. A lot of the little 3 3/4-inch figures that seem to be the main focus. Ton of vehicles for the 3 3/4-inch line. Looks like mostly vintage stuff there. And then some of the more modern pieces, more of the classifieds over here. Some more carded figures. I think some of these are vintage and some are modern. There's Loki from the new TV show and U.S. Agent. A lot of these figures are in stores now. A cool couple of G.I. Joe vehicles. more wrestlers, JoeFest 2021 t-shirt. I think these particular G.I. Joes might be customs, and some of the G.I. Joe Creo figures. Oh, this is a sweet case. Superpowers G.I. Joe, Star Wars. Over here we've got Masters of the Universe Classics. G.I. Joe headquarters in the box. More G.I. Joe carded figures. Some Transformers. Toxic Avenger. Flash Gordon ship. That's cool. The Crusader from G.I. Joe in the box. More box G.I. Joe. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, the Sherwood Forest playset from Robin Hood. What a great set. You don't see that very often. And one of the Castle Grayskulls. Buck Rogers Starfighter. Millennium Falcon. Whole bunch of Masters of the Universe figures, vehicles, and other rides. A couple of 12-inch Star Wars figures. Some loose vintage Star Wars figures. And some... Oh, the Secret Wars Tower of Doom in the box. Don't see that very often. Ghostbusters playset with some of the loose Ghostbusters figures. More wrestling figures. And some street signs. Whole lot of comic books. I didn't get footage of all of the comic books. There were just so many. Slabbed comic books, video games, loose vintage Star Wars figures. Some carded figures here. More loose figures. Looks like probably Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Backgrounds, if you want, for your figures. A Turtles helicopter. A whole bunch of bootleg Legos. Winnie USS flag in the box. They made announcements for that the whole weekend. More loose G.I. Joe. There's a Marvel Hulk there and some Transformers. Teddy Ruxpin. Didn't expect that. More G.I. Joes. She-Ra, Princess of Power Castle or playset, whatever that is. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Pizza Power game. Some more Turtles. Some of the newer Star Wars figures in the box. A couple of Transformers with a bunch of G.I. Joes. There's a Lone Ranger in silver back there. That's cool. Some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. More wrestling figures. More Star Wars, G.I. Joe. A whole bunch of loose figures on these cork boards in Ziploc bags. GoBots Command Center in the box and the Thruster in the box. Weren't a whole lot of GoBots. Some more G.I. Joe pieces here. The G.I. Joe Convention exclusive Fight for Survival Polar Bear Attack set. That's a cool piece you very rarely see. Some vintage Masters of the Universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, various other figures, loose. A couple of Pee Wee Hermans back here. And just various other Simpsons, Robin Hood, Marvel. Here we've got a whole lot of loose figures. 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Technodrome playsets. A couple of Pee Wee Herman talking dolls. Some more Power Rangers and mask figures. Ooh, a nice Sandcrawler and a bunch of Star Wars vintage stuff. Loose and boxed vehicles. That's some great stuff in there. Some Marvel and DC figures. Some Superpowers. Nice Superpowers figures. I don't think they had any that I needed, but the prices are actually okay on these. Power Rangers, more loose G.I. Joe figures. Tons of G.I. Joe figures this weekend. Nice Secret Wars and Superpowers figures. Mythic Legions figures, some parts for the flag, and a bunch of loose G.I. Joe. Masters of the Universe, Mortal Kombat. More carded G.I. Joe. This is more of the newer stuff. Another Technodrome and a G.I. Joe headquarters for the vintage 12-inch figures. And you'll also notice another She-Ra playset up there. There's the She-Ra playset. And another G.I. Joe headquarters command center. Bunch of $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman pieces. That's some cool stuff. Whole bunch of, and there's Pulsar. Whole bunch of stuff you don't see very often from that line. A whole lot of video games and video game systems, non-sport cards, and a cool racetrack. These were interesting. These were some modular kits that you could buy and pieces to put together your own figures. There's some more Masters of the Universe steeds, more boxed G.I. Joe and Star Wars, a whole lot of Pops, more Star Wars. I think a lot of those are vintage. So overall, I would say the things that I saw the most of this weekend, clearly vintage 80s Real American Hero G.I. Joe, loose, carded, boxed, number one thing I saw. I also saw a whole lot of Masters of the Universe and a ton of wrestling toys, which surprised me. I wasn't used to seeing so many wrestling toys. So what did I pick up at the show? I picked up a few things. First of all, I got Marion and the Monkey from the Street Vendor set from Raiders of the Lost Ark for $25. I found this little bowling set in somebody's dollar bin, so for $1, I couldn't pass that up. G.I. Joe figures, I picked up Dial Tone with all of his accessories and his file card for just $10. I got Lifeline with his accessories and no file card for $15. And from the October Guard, I got Red Star with all of his accessories for $20. And Big Bear missing only his file card. He came with a ton of parts, and I think all of them are here for just $10. So I scored big time at JoeFest 2021. Please give this video a like, share it on social media. If you enjoy my videos, subscribe to my channel. That helps me a lot. And if you're a fan of toys, you should know about Toylanta, held annually just north of Atlanta, Georgia. Visit toylanta.com for more information. As always, thanks for watching.